The 10 horns are beginning to hate the whore. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shah Bashem Rakakwadash and Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. This is on Redacted. This was just put up, tell you exactly 3 hours ago. Redacted with Natalie and Clayton Morris. Anyway, the title of the video is Portugal tells the U.S. to stay out of its business with China because they're interested in doing deals with Russia, doing deals with China, and some of the BRIC nations. By the way, what's the article? I wanted to do a video on it, but 16 nations are interested. Maybe it's 12 to make up 16, but it's something. If I can find an article, I'll do another video on it. But there are more nations that want to join the BRICS gathering, the BRICS nations. So you have EU, one of the EU nations that are pretty much, telling the U.S. to go, go take a walk, take a long walk off a short pier, because they're following the lead of the U.S. and it's destroying their prospective countries, like these EU nations, NATO nations. Before this whole Ukraine Russia thing, this war, they were doing trade with Russia, and I believe the main thing that they were doing trade, the main resources is oil. So they said we're going to follow the lead of the U.S. and but it's hurting them. Anyway, the title, if I didn't give it, I just went right into it. I didn't give the title. The title is, I think I gave it. Let me give it again. If I didn't give it, it said, I did give it. The EU nations shall hate the whore, or the 10 horns shall hate the whore. It's beginning right now. In Portugal, I wasn't sure. I wanted to be sure that Portugal was a member of EU. I didn't check if they were a member of NATO, but they are a member of EU. Let me bring it on up, if I can find it. Okay, here it is. I found it. It says Portugal, EU member, country profile. EU meaning the European Union. So one of the European Union nations, one of the 10 horns, are pretty much saying, well, straight up saying, mind your effing business, you whore. So this is one step closer to Revelation chapter 17. You can start the 12th verse. So ultimately, they're worrying about what Russia's going to do and China's going to do. If there's a war between Russia and America, or China and America, or both nations, or the BRIC nations, what's going to happen? You should be worrying about what the NATO and the EU nations are going to do, because it says the Most High is going to put it in their heart to do so. As a matter of fact, let me read that for the ones of you that don't know the scriptures. We got men and women that been following us for years and have become teachers, but you got people that are just starting to learn. So we got to give you the scripture. Excuse me. Revelation 17 and 12. I'll start at 12. Then I'll close. And the 10 horns, which are now like 30 30 plus EU nations, and the Ukraine wants to put in an application to be a part of the EU, to be a member of the EU nation. They're rejecting them, and there's a reason why. Because the very minute that they become a member of the EU, I'm sorry, the NATO, if they become a member of NATO, I keep saying EU and NATO, but it's all on the same beast. The 7 heads and the 10 horns. 10 horns represent the EU nations, which there are 30 of them now. And then you have the NATO nations, which are more than 7. And you have some EU members that are part of NATO and some NATO members that are part of the EU. The US and Canada, for example, and I said this in previous videos, the US and Canada are not part of the EU, the European Union, but they are a part of NATO. I haven't broken down NATO in so long. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And I believe, I'll check it. Matter of fact, let me do that now. Let me put in the word NATO, the acronym NATO. I'm sorry. And period T period. Let me do it this way. N A T T O. Okay, it's not there, but let me do it this way. N period A. Nope, it's not there. So I don't know if they're a NATO nation, but we do know that they're a part of the EU. Either way, they're part of the beast that's going to shoot missiles on America. So now let's go to the precept. And the 10 horns, which thou sawest, are 10 kings, rulers, which have received no power as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. The 1 hour represents 42 years. So the 42 years took place, what was it, 58, 68, 58, 68, 78, 88, 98. So we're talking 2,000 years. So they're ruling on borrowed time. Their time's been up, but they're ruling on borrowed time. Read that again, 12th verse. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. The beast represents the NATO nations, the EU nations and NATO nations working together. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Victory for the Lamb. These shall hate the whore. Who shall hate the whore? The NATO nation and the EU nations. These shall hate the whore. I'm sorry. These shall make, I'm thinking before I'm reading. My head is going too fast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. That's Revelation 12. For he is, now that word Lord is Kairos of Kairos, meaning Lord of Lord and Kings of Kings, which the word I believe is Basil of Basils, if I'm saying it right, or in the Hebrew, Malak of Malak, Malak Shal Malak. Malak shall Malak shall Malakiam, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto them, the waters which thou seest, that's talking about America, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, NATO, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they're worrying about what the Chinese can do and what the Russians can do. You better worry about what the NATO and the EU nations are going to do. They said, for the Most High have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So we're living in that time. It's going to come in our generation. And the woman, which is America, which thou sawest, is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Now, what can I say? What proof can I say to prove that they reign over the kings of the earth? There's over 800 military bases scattered throughout the whole planet. Anytime you have a sovereign nations in another so-called sovereign nation with their military over there, guess what guess what that is called? That is called an occupation, meaning that the America rules. That's why they're going to hate him. Ultimately, because the Most High is going to put it in their heart. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. On to the next one. Shalom.